Hello and welcome all to my presentation on the history of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, this is by me, Cormac McFarlane, the one, the greatest, the only, not technically the only. I was named after someone, but this presentation is on the blue blur himself, Sonic the Hedgehog, a franchise that means a lot to me. Yeah, Sonic's creation was in 1990, created by Yuji Naka and Naoto Shima after they came together to make a mascot for Sega. Now, this image below is picturing Yuji Naka and Naoto Shima in 1996 in an interview. They would go on to create a team called Sonic Team, which would work under Sega and made all the Sonic games, as you would expect. Sega wanted a mascot that can compete with their main rival at Nintendo, their mascot Mario, so they held a design competition. Some of the designs here would reflect the more finalized designs of Sonic here, who was Mr. Needlemouse originally. Then you have this guy, the Sleepy Man, who was based on Teddy Roosevelt, the President of the United States. He would later become the inspiration for the main villain, Dr. Eggman. And this final one here would be another inspiration for Sonic. I believe it was Lucky the Rabbit was the name, but very cartoony approach. But they finally got the design, and it was finished. They wanted to incorporate this physics-based rolling mechanic into the game of a way of gaining speed, so that's why they made him a hedgehog. It was that or an armadillo. Now, if you don't know, hedgehogs roll up in balls, so that's why they designed him to make him blue and everything to make him seem speedy. Yeah, it's an interesting design. You can see the progression here from Lucky the Rabbit to Mr. Needlemouse into the finalized Sonic design, or at least the classic design for Sonic from his older adventures. Right here, this nice airbrushed look. Now, they want him to embody the coolness of the 90s, and I'd say he did, even if it was a bit cheesy. It was more of the early 90s, oh, radical dude, tubular style of cool, which, some people thought was cool, I guess. It's an aesthetic. It's a choice. But here came the new kid on the block. In 1991, the first Sonic the Hedgehog game was released to extreme praise, being bundled alongside Sega's Genesis console, pictured down below all the images. Uh, he became the perfect rival to Mario, selling tons of consoles, being bundled in and everything. Yeah, it was an amazing game. Great starts. This right there was the American box art, and here is the Japanese box art. A much more minimalist design, but still a pretty good one. And 1 year later, they released Sonic 2, introducing Sonic's best friend Tails into the franchise. Now you can see right beside Sonic in that American box art, Tails, his good old buddy. Uh, yeah, and here we have the Japanese box art, which introduced this interesting stylized approach, adding these dash lines, jagged edges, make everything look really cool and interesting. It was a really cool design choice in my opinion that they haven't really gone back to since those older games. And then the same year, Sega of America was developing a Sonic game for their CD-based console, which was just an add-on to the Genesis called the Sega CD, and it was Sonic CD was the name of the game. Uh, Basic name, but it explains what's going on. This was the first introduction to Sonic's metal rival, Metal Sonic, classic name, I know, who is pictured here on this American box art, and is also pictured here about to charge into battle with the normal Sonic on this Japanese box art, continuing that trend of weird, jagged lines and bright colors. But when we got to the third one, it was triple trouble, because in 1993, Sonic Team released the third and final numbered Sonic game for the Sega Genesis, introducing a new rival and possible friend, Knuckles the Echidna. You can see peering out of those bushes in this American box art. And on the Japanese one, you can see him stand right beside Sonic with his three fingers up, showing you that, hey, if you don't read this, you know it's the third game. Knuckles was designed to look kind of like a polar opposite to Sonic. He was red, Sonic's blue. He punched, Sonic ran. Sonic, although having the quills, was a lot softer of design, but Knuckles had these very, very sharp elements to him. But Sonic 3 was only half the story, and the rest of it you would get 6 months later, and that was Sonic and Knuckles, where you could play as Sonic and Knuckles because it turns out Knuckles was tricked by Eggman into believing Sonic was the real villain. But the only way to truly experience the full game was by adding Sonic 3 to the top of Knuckles and Sonic, or Sonic and Knuckles, my bad. Using lock-on technology, you would get the full game as Sonic 3 and Knuckles, where the full story would play out. You could play as Sonic, Knuckles, or Tails. And this was the best way to play the game. And by far, in my personal opinion, so this is not shared by everyone, this is the best Sonic game. I love it dearly. It means so much to me. I've beaten it a multitude of times. It's fantastic. I love it a lot. But after this point, the franchise hit a point of stagnation because from 1994 to 97, Sonic games hit a point where, although there was new games, there wasn't any mainline titles. It was all just spin-offs like Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Triple Trouble, Spinball, Sonic R, which was a racing game. This, alongside the lack of good games on the Sega Saturn, led to an ultimate failure. And I've played some of the games here. They're not good or just really mediocre, which sucks. So, yeah, Sega slowly failed with their consoles, but suddenly Sonic got a radical redesign because in 1998, Sega held a design competition to redesign Sonic for a new era and he help make his design work better in 3D with longer limbs and cooler proportions for the late 90s, where everything was actually just cool. Um, and yeah, you have very interesting, some more radical redesigns like number 4 or 3 here, giving him sharp teeth and making him look a bit more meaner. But in the end, Yuji Ukawa was the one who, well, won the competition, and his design would influence the rest of the series to come. This design was made more lanky to make his movements more dynamic and fluid, and really defined this era of Sonic. I mean, it would continue to go on to define it, but really this point was this extremely motion filled, coolness filled. I'm saying filled a lot at the end of my words, but yeah, you get the point. And then Sonic went on his first grand adventure because later in the year, Sonic Team released their first true 3D mainline Sonic game called Sonic Adventure. And this was made for their new console, the Sega Dreamcast, pictured right down below. Now you see some of Yuji Uekawa's artwork on the cover, which helped inform all the art and design. Now this game expanded on Sonic 3's approach of having multiple playable characters with Tails, Amy, Knuckles, Big the Cat, E102 Gamma, who is that robot guy, and Sonic himself. Now, instead of just giving them all one game to run through, each of them had their own playstyles and stories, some shorter than the others. Sonic was just normal running stages. E102 Gamma would hunt down robots and shoot them and stuff. It was weird. Check out his gameplay if you're interested. He has a sad ending to his story. Big the Cat would fish. It was slow. It's not fun, but I do love Big the Cat. He is my man. Knuckles the Echidna with Treasure Hunt. That's awesome. Amy would do parkour and stuff, which was interesting. And Tails would chase Sonic, or basically get in races with him to finish the level faster than he could, using his two tails that let him fly around. But the adventure continues in the other greatest Sonic game of all time, greatest 3D in my opinion, because in 2000 Sega released Sonic Adventure 2. It's the last game released on a Sega console, because after this point, Sega ended up dropping out of the console market and ended up going bankrupt as well. Because of this, they believed this would be the last Sonic game, so they tried to make it their best, introducing Sonic's dark copy, Shadow the Hedgehog, pictured there on the cover. This game iterated on the multiple playable characters by only having two stories, but three different play styles where you would follow either Hero or Dark. Sonic and Shadow were the speed type. You would race around levels. Knuckles and Rouge were the flying or not flying, treasure hunting style where you'd find stuff across the stages. And in his first playable appearance, Eggman and Tails would each have their own mechs that they would shoot down enemies. And it got even better because in 2001, Sega moved from their own console to Nintendo consoles by making Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the GameCube and other consoles at the time. This alongside a Sonic collection of all their old games and a new port to port over Sonic Adventure 1 to the GameCube let a whole new generation of fans experience it, which I think, although it was sad that Sega was no longer making consoles, it was a great thing that they ended up doing this. But sadly, at least into the dark ages, because from 2003 to 2010, the quality of the and overall public opinion of the Sonic franchise deteriorated with games like Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, Shadow the Hedgehog, and many underwhelming spin-offs, and the reputation of the franchise has just suffered and still hasn't fully recovered to this day. But despite the many fails in this time, Sonic Team were able to make a comeback later in 2010 because this might have just been a redemption. Because in November of 2010, the game Sonic Colors released to high critical acclaim as a return to form for the series, featuring an interstellar amusement park where Sonic gains new abilities thanks to these aliens who are being captured to power the theme park. Different color powers that would let him do things like laser, boost, cube, turn Sonic into a cube, because of course, why not? And then a year later, celebrating the 20th anniversary and the two famous playstyles, you'd have Sonic Generations, where modern and the original classic Sonic would play in their own stages, 2D and 3D respectively, venturing through old stages in order to save time itself. A really fun adventure. But no, it was just 3 years, and it sucks now because we got in 2014 a reboot, Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric. This may have just been the single worst decisions Sega ever made because no one liked this game because it was unfinished and a glitchy mess and bad, like the big red text says. We got a good show out of it, but that was literally it. I think the worst part was just how bad the redesigns were. No one liked them. They were called ugly and bad because they were. I don't like them. Yeah, they're bad. But there was a glimmer of hope because in 2017, Sega, in collaboration with Headcanon and Christian Whitehead, created a celebration of the classic Sonic games with gameplay that gave fans hope once again as a return to form as Sonic Generations. This one was supposed to be a successor to the classic games, returning new levels or old levels and adding new levels. Still considered one of the best classic Sonic games of all time. I'd say for me, just under Sonic 3 and Knuckles as the best Sonic games. I love this game so much. It was the second Sonic game I ever played. We're about to come up, oh boy, to the first one I ever played. But yeah, this game was quite amazing. Because the reason you heard me groan about the first game I ever played, because I give up. Later in 2017, all hope was lost for the Sonic franchise because the new game, Sonic Forces, was a failed successor to the Sonic Generations game, bringing back classic and modern Sonic to meet up again and stuff. Many people felt like the cycle of bad games would never be broken, and some people still do. There was one redeeming quality, though, I'd say, was it was the first and currently only Sonic game to feature a customizable character, or avatar as they called it, where you could play as different animals, different costumes. It was neat. It was neat. See this guy, weird greenish guy right beside Sonic. That was their interpretation of what you might make in the game. It was okay. Didn't save the game from being a bad game. But anyways, let's just go to the movies and check out what's there. Because in 2020, oh, what was that? In 2020, the first Sonic movie was released to people enjoying it. I mean, it featured Ben Schwartz as Sonic, Jim Carrey as Eggman, which by and large was amazing, and James Marsden as Dom. Watch the movie if you want to. It's good. I really liked it. And oh God, it's back. Oh, it's back. After a minor design issue, they got a great movie. Oh, why did they do make this design? It's so ugly. It's so ugly. I hate it. But it got good. It got good. They actually got a real Sonic artist to work on it, and it looks really good now. But from good, it got great because 2 years after the first movie, we got Sonic Movie 2, introducing Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Tails, who was the voice actress for Tails in the games, Idris Elba as Knuckles, with the returning Jim Carrey, James Marsden, and Ben Schwartz as Sonic. This movie was more for the fans. because those 2 years gave people that were introduced to the franchise with the first movie time to learn more about it and enjoy it. And it just gets better because in 2024, the third entry would come out as an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2 with Keanu Reeves as Shadow, which was just amazing. It was an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2 that was just so good. It was so interesting. It adapting also a game with a great story was so helpful. I love this movie. Yeah, it's great. But the here and now, as of 2022, there's only been two mainline Sonic games, not including spin-offs. Sonic Frontiers, an open world style game that has taken a slightly darker tone from previous Sonic games, but I think it was for the best. It was an interesting story. I really enjoyed a lot. It was a really fun game to play through. And then the second game of 2023 being Sonic Superstars. It was a classic style game. This one was not so good, but still an interesting choice, I'd say. But 35 years and onward. Currently, we are at the 35th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog, and we know we're getting a fourth Sonic movie next year based on the Sonic CD games or game. And overall, the state of the franchise is a rocky one at best, but we have seen an overall bigger effort in making sure the games are a lot better, and I'm really excited for the future and incredibly hopeful. But moving on, we got some fun facts because why not? Did you know there was multiple comics based on Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, and one of them won the award in the Guinness World Records for the longest running comic series based on a video game franchise. Sadly, at the end, run it in 2017, but was picked back up by IDW Publishing. There's also this old one was published by Archie Comics. Yes, the people that made the Archie comics. Funny, I know. But second fact, long before any Sonic movies, there was in 1997, even before the first 3D Sonic game, there was an animated Sonic anime movie called Sonic the Hedgehog OVA. OVA standing for Original Video Animation. It's a weird movie, but it's pretty good. And the third and final fun fact is Sonic's super transformation that he gets once he's collected all seven Chaos Emeralds is a reference to Dragon Ball's Super Saiyan transformation. To explain it, Chaos Emeralds are a magic MacGuffin in the series that have existed since the first game. Pretty simple. But that concludes my presentation. I just like to take this time to note that this franchise means a lot to me. It's been with me since I was a very young child, and it's meant just so much, and I love it so very dearly. And this was a joy to put together, and I hope whoever's watching this, probably my friends, maybe my teacher, definitely my teacher, enjoy this video and see my passion for this series, and hopefully I get a good grade. Let's hope.